Today, we are very, very lucky and blessed to have Terese Santos among all of us, and she is going to share how she made it to be Senior Presidential Director. And Terese, without further ado, I give it all to you.
All right. Well, hello again, everyone. I think everyone in Lifewave, whether you've been around for many years or whether you are just really getting started, when it comes to achieving any of these high ranking levels, we all would probably agree that no great leader achieves great position without great people. So
Amen.
it is always about acknowledging the team and the leaders within my team. They helped me rise. And so if any of them are joining me today, I just want them to, they heard me on, we had a couple team Zooms and emails that went out, and they certainly know that my gratitude lies, very much in my heart for them. And so let's go ahead, and what's really been special too, and I know that Roy has had the special invitation this past year to also be invited to sit on the Leadership Advisory Board Council, but for the Asian Pacific market, which is,
Yeah.
a huge, huge honor. And it really was an honor for me. As you can see there, yes, I am now joining several other SPDs, in this room. I mean, Rick, of course, Lorenzo, now we are truly brother and sister SPDs.
Yes.
Yes. And so that was a great honor, but it was really an amazing honor for me to be invited by David Schmidt and the staff to sit on the North American Leadership Advisory Council. So that has been an incredible highlight over this past year. And so, and again, I know that that has a lot to do with, yes, my back, yes, it has a lot to do with the way I lead. Yes, it has a lot to do with my history, but it also has a lot to do with my team. And again, that goes right back to, it takes, we all heard that expression, it takes a village, right? And it absolutely takes incredible members of a winning team to achieve together. So wonderful. For those of you that may not know me, Roy's asked me to just kind of do a little story here, a journey of who I am, right? And I have to tell you all, Roy created a lot of this. And then we went in and just kind of made a little bit more, something that felt better for me. And so thank you, Roy, for
You're
putting the
welcome.
platform together. But Roy wanted me to share with all of you that might not know me a little bit about who I am. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but I just want I want this to give everyone hope. And that's the whole purpose of coming together as a community, no matter where you are in the world, is that, not one of us is alike. And that's important to understand. We all are different individuals, but that's part of the beauty of Lifewave and this industry, is that no matter where you are in the world, no matter what your experience is, no matter what your ethnicity is, we all have the same opportunity in Lifewave to create a story based on what feels right for us. We use our personality, we use our time available, and we just kind of make it our own. But here's what we have in common. We all have the patches in common. We all have the technology. We all have, the infrastructure. We have the same patches, the same product. We have the same compensation, and we
Yeah.
have the same CEO. So why is it that some people get started and they quit, and some people they get started and they rise all the way to the top. So that's what we want to talk a little bit about. How,
Yes.
a little bit of that. Does that sound good for everyone?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so for those of you, take a look here at the slide. I am a former Mary Kay sales director. I did earn 18 of those famous pink cars, but Mary Kay was very different than Lifewave. Mary Kay was not really a network marketing company. It was a direct sales company. So I had to learn, like a lot of people, how to work the binary, how to understand the language. In Mary Kay, we didn't have a left and a right leg. We weren't building like that. It was all unilevel. Okay. And so it was very different. And I also want to give you hope in about, I'm going to say something in about a minute from now that I want everybody to I want it to be a source of hope. So anyway, I did retire from Mary Kay formally in 2012. And then I went on to start, something that was a passion project for me, called Beauty for the Soul Mentorship, where I was doing business and life coaching, where I had private clients. And the truth is, I've had that business for several years, and I had built it up to having $1 million business. And that's important because of what I'm going to also share. And so I started Lifewave, and Roy will remember, I started Lifewave in August in 2017. I know the little blurb out there said I became an SPD in 10 months. That part was not necessarily, there was a better wording for that. You're going to hear that, again, I'll speak to that, but I've been with Lifewave since August of 2017, so a little over 4 years. And here's the truth. I started Lifewave because I needed the patches.
Yes.
Okay, I needed the patches. I had a 10-year struggle off and on with insomnia, sleep issues. It was May of 2017. So just a couple of months prior. So now you'll understand kind of where my mind was at. It was May of 2017 that I was going through some personal health crisis. I was at the beginning of something more serious, definitely was about to happen. I know that the patches saved my life because in May of 2017, due to stress and sleep issues, because see, stress and sleep, they accumulate, the damage accumulates. And it didn't happen overnight, but it caught up to me to the point where in May of 2017, I ended up in the ER, not once, not twice, 3 times. I ended up in the ER 3 times. Why? Thinking I was having a heart attack. The good news is it wasn't a heart attack, but had I not done something about it, it would have led to some kind of epic heart event, right? And not a good one. And I also know that sleep and stress mimic radical aging. I looked at least 10 years older. And I have pictures to show it, horrible. But anyway, so I was in that headspace. I started it got my attention. And we all know that there is no healing unless we also take a look at healing any stress, chronic stress and chronic sleep issues, right? We all know the importance of healing when it comes to those 2 big things. All right, so that was in May. And then I started doing healing on my own, started taking some time, and I was just focused on radical self-care. Then I had heard from my friend Susan at a meeting, she was talking about some patch. That's literally some patch that would work to help people with sleep. And I remember hearing patch and nothing enters the body. And I knew enough about, all the, more severe complications. Having sleep issues for 10 years, you would think that I would have resorted to Ambien, right? Or some of those big bad pharmaceuticals, but I knew enough not to do that. And so now I was doing a lot of other things, like everything that ended in PM, like Tylenol PM and all those things. And they would work for a little while and then they don't work. And we all know why now, right? Because anything third party, it eventually affects the body, where the body won't, in this case, all the melatonin that I was taking was working for a little while, but then it was inhibiting my own body to produce my body's own melatonin. So it stopped working. And so, but I knew enough to stay away from the pharmaceuticals, because that would have gave me a whole other set of problems, and addicted, right? So I heard about this patch called, and I don't even think I knew the name of it at the time, but it was a patch for sleep, and that it was non-addicting, nothing entered the body. I remember calling her, asking her a little bit about it. I was not interested in the business. I was interested in sleep. And so things progressed. That was in August. I know, because of my background, I think she got Roy on the phone. And I remember saying, well, if I'm going to do this, this is what needs to happen, and I really didn't expect to do much with it. I was really focused on my own healing and my new mentorship business. And so let's just say after about the second, third, fourth night, the silent night, and this is before ETS 39, right? This was just 4 years ago, but before ETS 39, the silent night patch, it changed my life. And I started sleeping, and I started feeling better. I started, that was the beginning of, oh my gosh, what is this? This is, and then I remember being introduced to David, and then David and I ended up, it was in August, that same month, David drove up, because I, lived in the Newport Coast area and Pelican Hill area. And David drove up, and we ended up, David Schmidt and I ended up having a 4-hour lunch, and I got to know him. And I remember asking David, how come I've never heard of you? You've been around a long time and you're in San Diego. And, and it really ended up being because, Americans are highly medicalized, and Lifewave, it had a big start, but then most of, he was going on to tell me that most of Lifewave sales, over 68% of sales. Now, again, 2017, he said over 68% of sales were all coming from the European and some of the Asian markets. And I went, okay. And he said 8% of the sales were coming from US. And I went, oh, well, that explains a lot. And so anyway, but here's what happened during that lunch. I got to know David, and all of us who know David, that you quickly realize that he is a very special human being, and that you can trust him. And, yes, he's very, very intelligent, but you can trust David. And there was something about that conversation, and it gave me the desire and the confidence that I could actually share this with a few more people. So that's what I did. You'll see that I started to introduce the patches to family, friends, and my clients. I started integrating the patches into my business. Yeah. And then I started, and by the way, unlike a lot of big leaders today who come in, and that's great, but Mary, my background wasn't, like I said earlier, my background was not in network marketing. It was direct sales. So I didn't have this big team to carry over like a lot of other leaders who come in. And so I started with one team member, one. And I want that to give everybody hope. So I started just sharing this with family and friends and clients. I started with one team member, and then it started, and then, started getting out there a little bit to share. Roy remembered, he would come to a couple of my early meetings, and everything was foreign to me. There was even times I was calling it Mary Kay Patches. But that was just, it was really something, honestly. For about 3 years, I was participating. I stayed plugged in, but I wasn't on purpose looking to really build this big team or really rank up. What was happening is that my business was growing. First of all, my business never grew this easy. I don't want to say no effort, because I was participating. I was doing some things, but maybe 10, 12 hours a week, because I had clients. And what happened is that it was starting to really grow. And my Mary Kay business never grew that easy. I had to do a lot more conversation. I had to talk a lot more. I had to sell a lot more to sell cosmetics or skincare, because skincare and cosmetics is a very noisy market. It's everywhere. Lifewave, no competition. I just had to, listen to people and find out where, maybe what their problem was, what their pain was, what their concern was, where they're coming from a place of needing support with stress, sleep, pain. And now today it's even easier, because everybody's interested in those things, and they're interested in age reversal. So it's even an easier conversation today. So I said all that because why? My business grew to the point where in January of 2021, just 10 months ago, I came on a Zoom, on a Monday night Zoom that I did with my team. And I announced to my team that I made the decision that we're going to go all the way, and we're going to raise the vibrational frequency of this team, and we're going to build momentum. And I didn't put an exact timeline. I just knew it was going to happen. I made the decision. I want you to all to connect with, how do you become an SPD? You decide. And once you make a decision, the universe starts to show up. People start to show up. So I made the decision in January 2021, not only to go full time with Lifewave, but I gave up. I knew I was going to no longer work my coaching and my mentorship business. I was going to finish a couple client contracts that I had, and then I was going to let it go in order to give more attention to Lifewave. Because why? I knew that there would be no other opportunity window in Lifewave. Lifewave would always be a good company, but I also am a businesswoman, and I knew that there was this precious window of time before this company becomes a billion-dollar brand. We all know this is called momentum, right?
Yeah.
So that's it. So I made the decision January 2021. Then from the point of the decision, 10 months after making the decision, that's when I achieved the top position of SPD and joined the other SPDs. I also am a mother of 2 adult grown sons, Shane and Chad, who are in their 30s. And what's so great about this is that today, I shared with you earlier that I looked 10 to 15 years older when I was in the ER back in May of 2017. Today, I'm closer to 60 years old. And a lot of people find that hard to believe. And so I really am a product of the patches. I use the patches every day. I can't imagine my life without these patches. And so I currently live in Orange County, but I also knew the importance of expansion and growing. Next slide.
All right.
Is this helpful for people? Are you all enjoying this? I know we're kind of informal. Is this good?
Very good, Terese. Very, very good.
So I think we already kind of talked about this one. It all started with the Silent Night patch, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, next slide.
So I didn't know that it was 10 years that you were struggling with it. That is something.
Yeah, 10 years off and on. And so a little shout out here to Wendy Tan, big part of our beautiful, her and her team are an incredible part of our success in the Malaysian market. All right, so a little bit more specifics. So once I made that decision, right, in January 21, 10 months ago, and once I finished up my final contracts with all my clients, I put a plan of action together. I am, a lot of incredible leaders, especially our global leaders, and I know our, Roy he's just willing to show up, and he will work morning, noon, and night. He will do what it takes. And we know that he's doing Zoominars at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm not that person. I am not. So thank God there's a Roy, right? But I really operate from a place of structure and a little bit of a plan of, structure and a plan of action with a couple of strategies. For me, it comes a lot from my background in teaching and coaching, where an industry like Lifewave, I love this so much. I've only had a job 2 days my whole life. I am proof, right, that you can build an incredible business from home, make a 7-figure income from home. But here's what I learned. I learned that I had to be willing to discipline myself. And so I was willing to discipline myself because I was not going to be good at being an employee and having other people discipline me. So I knew that I had two choices: either be an employee or be willing to discipline myself. And so in an unstructured type of business, a little structure, meaning a plan and some strategies, can be very helpful. Some of the things that I did, and you can see this, I started monthly leader meetings, monthly leader Zooms, and it's a Zoom, and I still do that. I still do a monthly leader Zoom where we gather for about 75 minutes once a month, and you have to be at that manager level or higher. And it's just a higher level conversation where there's fellowship and training. I also do a Monday morning leadership call where they can call in, and that's about 45 minutes. It's a great way to start the Monday. I believe in leadership. How does anybody rise to the top in this industry? By helping to create a lot of leaders. I think the number one role of a leader is to inspire others. And so they need to hear you. I make sure that my leaders know that they're my priority. Everybody in my team matters, but my leaders know they're my priority. And if leaders have the freedom to do business and they're equipped, they can go do it the way they want to do it, but they know that I have their back. So we do the weekly leader calls, the monthly leader Zooms for managers and above. I make sure that a lot of my training is recorded, so I leverage my time. And you'll see one of the questions that was always coming up is back office training. People always wanted to know, how do I change my binary settings? Those simple things, right? How to change the settings, how to rank advance. So I did a video training. I recorded it. And now we have a tool that can go out to everyone anytime they need it. It's about a 9-minute video. And you can see that was a powerful plan of action and a strategy that people get supported by me. But I'm supporting 1,000, 2,000, and I will continue to support people with this that I haven't even met because it was recorded. The other thing I do, and that's where I started, and that was every Monday night. And I know a lot of leaders do this every Monday night. I do a team Zoom, and that's just what I believe is important. I believe that it's the energy. I believe in the energy of community. I believe in the energy where, as the leader, we set the tone. So, every now and then I would have a different leader stand in for me if I was traveling, but that was my commitment to my team. I knew that they could come on and we would do what's new, events, reminders, promotions. And then a lot of times it was training and Q&A ongoing. So those are a couple of the strategies that we put into place to leverage my time so I wouldn't go crazy. I don't work to go crazy. I'm the type of leader that likes balance, and I want to enjoy the journey. Next slide.
Okay.
Well, I also I became an SPD because I focused on relationships, training, and developing leaders. Kind of, what I was just mentioning. You will see some of the pictures of me doing Zooms, and you'll see, a shared Zooms. You'll see, senior directors, Kathy Booker, senior director, Simone Kavalheim. You'll see in the image in the middle, directors, a new presidential director, Sandra Biskind.
Oh.
So we, about 10 days ago, on October 31st, I worked close with Sandra Biskind, one of my personals, and she reached the rank of presidential. You'll see her in the middle at the table with the flowers. And then I also believe in getting out there. And of course, we're still very much in a time of COVID-19. So none of us are doing big live meetings that much. And we're not doing big events like we used to. But I did start doing a couple meetings, not many, less than 5. In the whole 10 months, less than 5 meetings, and maybe 2 booths where I was out there meeting some people, like you will see in the image. But I mean, most of us grew this business all from our home, doing just what we're doing right now, a Zoom. Next slide.
Okay.
And I also became, another thing that I did to focus on reaching SPD is I focused on global expansion. And I reconnected with a gentleman by the name of Oz, a very powerful Latino, a Hispanic leader in the industry. We knew each other about 8 years ago when I had my home in Scottsdale, Arizona. And Oz was a very, very successful industry leader. We lost touch. And then this past July, we reconnected, had dinner, talked, and I started to grow and expand in the Latino market. I have to tell you that, Oz just stepped into senior director. He will be an executive director probably by the end of this week. There are about 25 new managers, directors, and senior directors, all within this new incredible Hispanic market. The leadership is extraordinary. There's Guillermo and Marina, and I mean, just leaders that are emerging. And that is, I mean, this group they're only 90 days old. They're only 90 days old, and incredible big things. And then, next slide.
Okay. And so he is Oz, huh?
That's the guy. Oz. That's Oz with the blue jacket.
All right. Great.
Yep. And then I think we only have two slides to go. The other thing that as you grow, and as I was saying earlier, because I was getting success, and that relationship, I was invited, as Roy was, to be, and there's only 6 people that were invited to be on the North American Advisory Board. I don't know if Lorenzo is on here today, but Lorenzo McGrew and then myself sit on the North American Advisory team or board. And then again, we know that Roy is on the Asian one. But because of that position, it gave me an opportunity to work a little bit more closer with Emily and of course corporate. And we've had some fun. You can see Emily and I had a few, we had some fun. And so business should be fun. I've always believed that money is an energy and we should have fun. I mean, money doesn't like stress. And so it's important to make sure that all is good and that you're enjoying your business as well. Develop good friendships and relationships, because a life that is only focused on making money is not a good life. Next slide.
Yeah. All right. So is that in Utah?
It is in Utah.
All right.
It's in Sundance. The other thing that happened during the 10 months of climbing to SBD is I also focus on personal customers. You'll see on the right-hand side, you'll see my name under number 10 for having, being a top customer enroller. So know that I focused on personal sponsoring, I focused on leaders, and I focused on getting a couple new customers. And then you'll see in April, I think a couple times, Roy, not just April, I think it was April and May, I was recognized with as one of the top, as literally one.
Can't hear anymore.
Sorry, Roy. Unmute, please.
All right.
Unmute, please, Roy. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. So is that better?
Yeah. Better.
Thank you. So I talked about the importance of working on, developing personal customers. In April, I was number 3 in the entire company for the most income as a presidential. That's pretty cool. And in May, I was number 2. And again, I'm only sharing this because that's the kind of things that will happen as you are helping others rise. Then you also see a rise. And I think we have one more slide.
Yeah, there we go.
And there we go. So there is my sponsor. And I believe, and I know that Roy believes, Lifewave offers a wonderful opportunity for everyone in the world. And this opportunity is only getting better and better. And I look forward to seeing so many of you next week in Orlando. Well, I hope that you will be there. Come say hi to me. And let's have an amazing convention. that takes us
Yes.
into an even better 2022.
All right. Thank you so much, Terese. Very well done. Woo.